Hey everyone, it's Lynette with Charmedgrammycrochet Crochet and apparently stained glass for about a week. So this is the next step of creating a stained glass item is that you have to knock off all the rough edges. And you can use a file, just like not a nail file, but something rougher. I had one once. I don't use it and I don't know where it is now. It's not in my toolbox. But I use a grinder, and this is made by Inland. I don't remember how much it was. It was not a cheap item, I can tell you that. And it's a wet grinder. Let me take this off so maybe you can see a little better. You grind the glass when it's wet. So you have a sponge, and there's a water reservoir in here that's supposed to soak up the water, keep the sponge wet, and therefore keep your surface wet. I find that never happens for me. I don't know why. I can show you. So there is water in here. Okay, there. Because I keep dumping water in. I have a water. And it's just going to grind it away. So I have a grinder wheel. And this is diamond something on the outside. I just replaced this, my old one, and they come in different sizes. And this also has, I can put this on here, and then my sponge and the little guard, and I don't know what good that guard does because everything gets splattered. I'll show you in a minute how much it splatters, but it splatters everywhere. But I also have, like if you're doing littler pieces, you can mount this on top and put another wheel, a smaller one up here, and use a smaller surface. And it's got its own little water reservoir. I'm just using the big one. So I'm not using the little one. Anyway, so the grinder is noisy, and these are not actual pieces. I will tell you, I cheated and did all of my edge smoothing out and fitting in on all the real pieces, because after we do the grinding, then we can put the foil on. Grinding isn't as I need to. I don't know if everyone grinds their sharp edges before they foil. I think it's advisable to at least knock some of the sharp edginess off, but like this piece has this little pointy tip, and like the break is not good. Definitely you can't foil that. It's not going to be smooth and it will cut the foil. At least I would never foil that, but I'm not an expert. If you like this, if you cut it wrong, like too wide, you can trim it down easy. Some pieces, any glass, if you have to cut just a little teeny, you just missed a little bit, it's easier to file it, particularly if you have a grinder, than it is to try to recut it and just cut, a little tiny sliver, because you'll probably just break your glass before versus fixing it. So when the pieces come off of here, they're wet and they're dirty, and I'll show you in a minute. So I cheated and I pre-fitted all of the pieces for both of our pictures. But I'll show you how the grinder works on this, how to take off that edge and all the sharp edges. They'll pretty much have a dull look to the edges where they're shiny now. Makes it easier for putting the foil on, so you're not cutting yourself, you're not ripping your foil. The foil has to go on nice and tight, so the edges will need to be clean, so we have to clean them afterwards. But a lot of times, if you're working like on the one that's not going to be in a frame, not real important if it doesn't grow. The one that's going to be in a frame, we can't allow that to grow. So if we need to trim a little, And sometimes trimming a little means like you have this little, just that little tiny shard right there is going to throw off your whole piece because it sticks out. So if it was, this would just break off probably, but if it was thicker, just a little tiny bump can really throw off your whole pattern, and then it's not going to fit, and then you got a problem. So if it's a little small, that's okay, because you can grow it with some, we can, don't tell Trisha, but we can fudge just a little with, we can fudge a little with some solder, fill in some like areas, and it looks perfectly fine. So of course there is a guard, because you can, you know, you don't want to get glass shards in your eyeballs. So this goes on like that. I know it kind of might hinder a little bit of what you see, but we're gonna do what we can. So this is gonna be loud, and well, I'll just show you. We'll just do it, and it's a little loud. Just go around all the edges. It doesn't take off much unless you want it to. It can take off a lot. So let me show you on the white one too. I'll take it down. Can you see the black line? I'll take it down that much, and I'll show you just in some spots, and I'll show you. So like two swipes with medium pressure took off. Can you see where the black line is and where the black line is no longer? It just went in that deep. But you can see now the edge is dulled, and you're not going to cut yourself. I would not do that on this side, because I will cut myself. So our sharp point, totally gone. And it's wet, so you can't see that it's got a, you know, right here. If I was going to use this piece, I would grind this down to where this is not shiny, because it's not going to hold the foil well unless you have a smooth surface for it. And the foil is, you know, going to be what holds your glass together. So that's cleaned up, and now it looks pretty decent, and you could use that. The pieces that I'm going to move you, and I'm not going to pause to do it because I don't know how to pause on when I'm going right on YouTube. I just got my tripod stand all filthy. So we're going to move, and I'm going to show you the beginnings of the next step, which mostly I won't do on camera also, because it's just the process. It's not a tutorial, and the next step takes a while. This took me a couple of hours to grind all the pieces down and get them to fit. Sometimes you have to, you know, improvise and make things fit. So let me just kind of turn you around over here and see what's going on. If we can see what kind of adjustments we need to make so you can see. Don't mind the wobbliness. All right. So this is the cutout pattern. It's been ground down and it's filthy, but it's fitting on my pattern. Let me get this out of the way for a second. So the big pattern piece that we didn't cut out is underneath here. I'll show you with the numbers on it and saying what color we were using in each spot is right there. If I was, so you build this on your original pattern so that you know you're not expanding and going further. Originally, way back when, before we had, I don't know, pressed board or whatever this is, the stained glass artists would use wood, which is how I learned on that first board that I was cutting the glass on. And they would use horse nails. I think these are horseshoe nails. And so you would hold your glass in, and they would pound in each piece, each nail as they go. And the nails also have a nice width to them. If you were going to use lead has, I have a piece, let me just grab it really quick. Lead has some width to it, just like the solder and the foil will have some width to it. Lead has a little bit of width to it as well. This is not actually lead, this is zinc. Okay, so if this is zinc, I think it's zinc, and it's got a huge channel in there. So a piece of glass, if I was going to be making this in a freeform frame, like you see a lot of, or even if I was putting it in a window itself, I would use this as a frame for it if it was large, and the glass will just fit in there. Where the glass goes in here, I would if you're leading the glass, you would be using pieces of lead that are shaped like this as well, and you would be cutting them and fitting them in place all around, so you would not use the foil technique that we're going to do now. If I was making a window, I would put foil around the whole piece if I was foiling the window, but using this as a frame for structure, because the foil it's just a thin tape like substance with copper on it. And so if you don't foil, I mean, if you're going to make a substantial size piece like the ones in the window, you need something sturdy and hard to support your weight. So this, this is good. And then you would, depending on the size and the weight, you would definitely, if you're just making something small like this, and you can get something that bends this, but we're not going to do that. Obviously, this one's going in a frame. For the other one, I'm going to use what they call restrip and wrap it around, or you can do, hold on just a second, which is for smaller things, you can just use some thin wire, and you would just make this circle around the outside and foil and solder it and tin it just like the rest of this, and then that'll hold it together. The weight of the glass isn't being supported solely on foil tape. So you're saying, what is foil tape? I hope I'm not jumping ahead here. So once I get my pattern to fit, I didn't put any. Modern day, this is easier than the nails. I can just use push pins in this pressed board stuff, whatever this stuff is, I don't know. Now my glass isn't gonna, it'll shift a little, but it's not going anywhere. And I know I can build, I know it's gonna fit in my frame, and I'm happy with that. So the copper foil, here it is. It comes in different, the outside is always going to be copper, but the inside you can get, this one has copper on the inside. You can get it with black on the inside, or you can get it with silver on the inside. If you're going to, when you're done, your project can be silver, because the solder that you use, this is 60-40 solder, 60 what, 40 of what, I have no idea. I used to know, but I don't know anymore. But this is the solder that we're going to use to put this together after we foil it, and it's silver. So I have clear glass. I might want to consider, do I want to use foil that's going to show copper through my clear when my, all of this is going to be silver, or there's things that are called patinas, and you can make the silver black. So if I want to do black, then I'm going to want the inside of my foil to be black, because it's going to show. In this case, I don't want to do black. I believe I'm going to do silver. I think I'm just going to leave it all silver. I could put the patina on it and it would look good in the, because the, maybe I should. Okay, we will. Let me see how much black I have. Black tape. 3/16 black. I should be able to do that. Okay. We'll patina this black because of it going in the frame that's got the black in it. The silver probably wouldn't look good. The other one, I'm going to do silver. So I'll use foil that has silver. But for test purposes, I'll just use one of these other pieces. So you can, let's put this away. We don't need it yet. I will need to change this out. Okay. So the next piece, you don't have to keep your stuff all together like this to put the foil on it. I'm going to kind of keep it that way because I know the pieces fit like this and it keeps me organized. And when I was doing glass a lot, I wouldn't be so worried about it. But, you know, I'm out of practice. So anyway, you can foil by hand, which is perfectly fine. You just take the foil, you take your piece of glass. You want your glass to be clean. What did I do with my rag? Hold on. Let me grab another rag. You know, you can't foil over all the dirt. It doesn't have to be like washed, but you want to get all the dirt off of it. You want particularly this area to be clean. Oops. And now that all my edges are smooth, I really don't have to worry so much about cutting myself. So foiling would just be a matter of taking the foil and start at one end. Let's see, I don't know if you can see. You want to center your glass around. Oh, I forgot to bring scissors over. And there is a strip here. So you just kind of lay your glass in the middle so that you're getting, and there's different widths of this as well. Thicker glass, you need a thicker width. Thinner glass, you need a thinner width. I'm so out of practice. And you lay it on. This isn't going to stick at this end, but I don't care because I'm not going to leave it here anyway. It's not the right one. And you press it on, and then you take, which you have to do no matter what, but then you take a tool, I like this one, and you roll it on there and you make it smooth. And you can do that kind of by hand too, but it's much better if and easier if you, and you've got to smooth out all the little wrinkles. And this isn't on well, but I don't care because I'm taking it off anyway. And then you run it on the sides. It's important that every piece of your sides are covered because this is how you're going to hold your stuff together. So I'm not using this color, so I'm going to take it off. I personally, if it's small pieces, it's awesome to do it that way. If it's big pieces, I like to use this machine over here. It looks kind of like this. It looks exactly like this actually because this is the box that came in. And this is also from a company, oh no, this is not from Inland. This is from Gladstar, G-L-A-S-T-A-R. I don't know, I've had it a long time. I don't know if they still make this, but it holds two different size foil on here. You can put two different sizes on it. This is a 3/16 size, which is the size that I have in black that I'm going to do these in. This one is silver, and the thing is kind of really cool. It has a guide. I'll turn it. It's easier to turn this than to turn. So you can have two different foils in it at the same time. Generally, you only use one size foil per project. At least that's all I ever did. But the foil goes on here. It's just a little spindle, and then it comes under, and this little area here, oh wait, you can't see, okay, this little area here takes the backing off, and just the tape, the foil part itself comes over this little wheel, and there's like a rubberish strip in there, and I don't know, then there's a guide here. In general, I find this to be much easier. So this is another tool that you can use for rubbing your glass to get the foil smooth. So let me stick this down in here. I don't know how well I can do it backwards to show you this direction. Let me back you up a little. Come on, move. Stuff is in the way. Okay. We just hold these down with these pins. So you just take your piece and you push it into the foil, in the rubber. Oh, there it goes. And it should give you, with any amount of luck, and you just go around the corners, and when you get to the end, there we go, you cut it with a pair of scissors that I didn't bring over here, so I'll just rip it. And that gives you a nice edge on all the way around. So now we're going to fold this up, crease it a little, and then you take your little tool here and you run it over and make it nice and smooth. Get this out of the way. Flip this over and you get it all smooth. So as you can see, this is a little bit of a time-consuming step, but you want to get, you know, most of the creases out. You want it to be, I think they call it burnished, I don't know. You want it smooth and nice. If the wheel itself isn't doing a good job, you can use the side. And when you have it all nice and pressed down tight, then you can roll the wheel over the side, smooth it down. And then you got to do the back side. I got a little issue right here. If there's not copper there, the solder won't stick when we go to solder it together. So this is an important step, even though it seems kind of like stupid. It's a very important step. If this is not done, the solder will not stick to your glass. It will only stick to the foil. So if you don't have foil on your piece, you're going to, it won't become part of your project in the end. So that's how you foil it. Then you would put it back in your project. And it doesn't matter if it's dirty, like with fingerprints and stuff like that. I don't know if you can tell, but there's still writing on here in the magic marker that I use to number my pieces. That'll all come off in the end. When it's all done and soldered, then you wash it, because when you solder, you have to put soldering oil on there. They call it flux. You have to put flux on it. Everything gets oily and dirty and grimy. So then you wash it really good and you scrub it with a brush or steel wool even. Get everything nice and clean and shiny. You can even polish it, and then it's beautiful. So that is the last, or the next step. So I will get all of these pieces for both. The other one, move this again. I'll stick myself. Just throw the other one away. I don't know. Okay. The other one with the dark blue is over here. I tried to be all organized and have everything laid out. So this is the dark blue one, and as you can see, it's with the white glass. This is the residue from grinding. This piece is ready to go. And so am I. I'm done with this part of the tutorial, or not tutorial, but the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and sticking around. And, oh, there's that other pin before I stick myself with it. I will see you. It'll take me, you know, it'll be a while before I come up with the soldering together part, because I'm going to foil all of these pieces, and I don't know that I will be working on it at all today or tomorrow. So it might be a couple days before we get to the next video of putting them together, seeing how they work. Cross your fingers that everything fits properly and comes off without a hitch. So I will see you next video. Bye.